Gnar Reroll gained a lot of traction over the weekend and in the Anima Cup. However, due to being overloaded with impactful decisions already early on in the game, and due to its nuanced gameplay, a lot of players struggle to find success with it. My name is Boris, and today we'll be looking at the Gnar Reroll comp, first about it and then a VOD review from the Anima Cup. The spot where we have the green light to play this comp is already seeing Gnar and ideally bows. Rageblade is one of his best items, Kraken pairs together with him quite nicely as well. And we're looking to be tempoing early on. We're looking to be gaining that HP lead in the early stages of the game so that we can finish off our Gnar 3 with 7 meeple prints. Ideally, this would mean that you have naturaled Gnar 2 by 3-2 and have managed to ideally string together a win streak already there. And this is where one of the most crucial decisions comes into play. If we have a very strong board and are confident in our matchups that we can win stage 3, we are fine to be going for the gamble that we are hoping to natural more Gnars and look to finish it off on 7 meeple without rolling on level 6. Remember, every single print is going to take you 2 rounds, so if you're just stuck on Gnar 2 when you make it to level 8, consider perhaps pivoting into a different comp. Most natural variant obviously would be into that quirky Riven line. However, if you have that Rageblade, you have that Kraken, perhaps maybe Zaya, if that is uncontested, is going to bridge you nicely. This is the good thing about this opener, it can play into a lot of comps. Also, MF Reroll is on the table for you. The more secure version would be to be rolling on level 6. If you're looking to rolling for a board with Gnar and 3 Timebreaker, the board that could fit quite nicely together is like this, and then you can simply slot in the Meepsy on your level 7. But remember to be holding on to at least a single star copy of all your meeple units. And Poppy 3 can be chased as an alternate tank. You're still going to be replacing her with the Rammus too early on once you're able to get there, but you can hold down the line, and this is the most natural board to be hitting on level 6. Then you are utilizing the XP cores you're gaining from winning from the Timebreakers or the free rerolls from the losses to look for about 6 or 7 Gnar copies and then push your levels from there. This is nicely played from also the mixed streak openers, since allows you to stabilize on stage 3 and pick up a win streak there. If you're not able to win streak there, you're going to be a very rough spot game and you have to look for some kind of a bailout on your 4-2 augment. Once we have secured our Gnar copies or we pushed our way to levels 8 through hoping to natural copies, we're slotting in a 7 meeple board, plus Galio fits in quite nicely since the meeple board seems to be lacking a little bit on the front line, but +1 sniper is completely fine as well. We finish off our Gnar through the meeple prints, again 2 rounds per copy. You're most likely going to be losing rounds here, so you want to have that HP threshold, or you might want to consider rolling deeply until you're securing the Gnar 3 just to stabilize your board as much as you can. With the Gnar 3 secured, or if we're sacking and healthy, we can already start to look to push level 9 and then cap our board around ideally 3 meeple, but that is very hard to achieve, especially since the units like Blitzcrank here in this 3 meeple version are contested, as well as Shen. Therefore, 5 meeple version is going to be more your standard variant here. You can be a little more flexible with your units here as well. If you do not have a bard, obviously just play a quirky until then. Also, the Mordekaiser Blitzcrank package can fit in quite nicely through here. Rast and Morgana to fill out your flex slots. Other notes regarding the comp: ideally we are making Stoneplate for that Rammus to gain the maximum value from the Gnar's Boomerang Splash and position him in a way to have the line like here. Econ management is extremely crucial in this comp, it's going to make or break your game. Ideally you're not rolling too deep on level 6, but there might be spots where you're supposed to. Failing your win streak is also going to make a huge dent into your econ situation, therefore be careful, observe your matchups and see when you can make the aggressive plays. Definitely go for them, but be wary about your decisions. Last Whisper is going to be better than the Even Shroud. We are ideally making this Rammus 3 a super tank. Gnar needs a little time to scale. We have that Rageblade and sometimes Kraken, so we are a scaling comp. Good emblems to fit in this comp. Obviously, Meeple allows us to be more flexible and reach that 7 Meeple cap earlier on. Do not need to secure both of our 4 costs right away. Sniper emblem, a free +1. Bastion emblem allows you to maybe drop this Poppy and simply play around another flex unit like Morgana. Or play for 4 Bastion variant with that if you're able to high roll that Shen early on and have something like an Ornn, which maybe might be uncontested, or you're able to pick up an Ornn 2 and delay that Samira reroll just that little bit. Voyager emblem, amazing, best emblem in game, free +1. Rogue emblem could allow you to play around more Timebreakers, be a little flexible there, maybe have that Fizz online and get that Riven online. Generally good emblem just for pure stats. And Timebreaker emblem allows you to have the 4 Timebreaker here, which is quite strong, extra a lot of attack speed, definitely going to make your board quite strong early on, and then you might want to just drop out of it, or maybe consider playing again into your quirky ribbon lines. Be flexible with your decision making, do not hard commit to this line too much unless you've made something like a Rage Blade early on in the game already. For the itemization, obviously, as mentioned, Rage Blade is the best item for Gnar. Then we want that IE since a bunch of his damage is in that boomerang. For the last slot, we're looking for any form of damage jump item. Deadblade, Kraken, Striker's Flail, Giant Slayer are all completely fine. Ideally, our second carry is going to be that Jhin, who can hold and apply that Last Whisper amazingly. He loves that IE, and then it's just Deathblade or Giant Slayer are great damage jump items, as well as amazing holder of that red buff. If we find more AP items, we might consider playing around Bard over Karma. He loves that simply nuke power into him. Jeweled Gauntlet, Giant Slayer, or any form of utility item is going to be amazing on him. And Rammus, Stoneplate, any form of armor item is amazing. Deathclaw, if your lobby is leaning more into that AP, anything that you are going to be slamming for tempo is going to work out great. For the god selection, Varus can give us that upside of duplicators. Yasuo Hex is the cryogenic hex, the attack speed hex are all amazing, as well as that Electros stun hex on Jhin is absolutely insane. And Echo for maybe a little more resources, or that anomaly later on. As usual, this cheat sheet is going to be available in the link down below. And now let's jump in a game from the Anima Cup. For the VOD review, we are going to be jumping in game with Quintaniilha from the Anima Cup. Our gods for the game are going to be Yasuo and Kayle. We are playing here in the Gold Augment encounter. Starting out with Alessandra, definitely still one of the units that is going to nicely transition in all of your AP boards. Can pretty much hold any kind of AP items and ties nicely together with Shepherds, but given that the meta is quite Space Groove, we see the Nasus pair, we play the Nasus pair. If you can get a chance to be playing around this Space Groove line, you're definitely going to be using it in this kind of a tournament setting. On the ladder though, I personally prefer to stay away from it. We do get already immediately a Gnar pair, but we have not seen a bow. However, since we also have the Ezreal going to be considering it, and for now fielding the Vanguard front line. Would ideally also want to be holding on obviously onto this Mordekaiser and Milio, very valuable shop all things considered, and opting to give up on the Teemo here and pick up that Milio. Since we have that Nasus pair, we have a potential for a strong tank. Obviously Mordekaiser is absolutely amazing due to his traits. And our item slams at the moment would probably be something like a Sunfire if I were to consider tempo a great early game item. For ourselves, we're offered the Timebreaker Reroll Augment. This is unclickable. It's going to receive even more buffs probably, but this only benefits the Timebreaker unit itself, so even though it would give us an Ezreal too, we are not clicking this in any kind of tournament setting. Loot Singularity, also another augment that just comes online a little too slow. It does not provide that much value and is hard to be playing around. This is for fun if you just want to be doing something on your ladder games. Therefore, Trade Sector is probably our default option. Nicely ties also into that reroll game plan. Can utilize our free rolls more on tempo and capitalize on them. So we're going to be defaulting this as a generic Econ augment. Heart of Steel would be quite neat in this kind of a spot. It's also not that bad on the Rammus himself, especially if you're able to pair it later on with the Crown Guard. And we would have the Tank Slam, right? Whenever you're taking this kind of a tank item that has his scaling into it, you would want to be having a strong frontline. We do not really have that upgraded frontliner yet. If you have a upgraded frontliner, frontline slam, and can streak on from having extremely durable tank, this is going to be great. Clear Mind, hard to play around. Players like Setsuko are able to pull this off. Sometimes you have to take it. I stay away from it as much as I can because this is going to generally lead you into a loss streak. It's great if you have a strong board or are going to be lose streaking and then try looking to find a way to natural spike your board on stage 3. So I believe that we're just going to be going with Trade Sector, immediately find Gnar 2, Ezreal 2. Now obviously extremely strong spot, but we do not have those items just yet. Going to be opting to level here, trying to play for that win streak and go for that Sunfire Slam. Glove, an amazing item. Can make that Last Whisper, can make that IE. Jhin caps high with IE, Gnar loves that IE, and if you win, most likely considering to holding on to this Poppy. So he's going to be locking the comp in here from right away. Generally with 2-cost reroll, you're opting to not level here on 2-1, but if you're able to 2-streak here, especially with a strong backline, we are going to do so. I'm only worried that someone might have a lot of frontline burst from to burst down our front line if we are unable to natural this Nasus 2. Sometimes the play that you might go considering here is, even if we were a little bit richer, perhaps use our free rerolls to try to fish that frontline upgrade. The downside is that we could hit another Gnar copy or something, and then our econ and our intervals would be significantly hit. Playing here into what seems to be some kind of Shepherd board with that Rage Blade, most likely Ladder Slayer here, considering playing into LeBlanc, but Advanced Loan is an augment that I'm also very not happy about. Well, especially apart from this gold encounter, right? This is when you have this TF encounter, when you know that there's going to be full gold, you're going to want to, you can't take it because you know that the downside, the punish of hitting the prismatic augment is not coming there. But we could see he already rolled here, picked up Timebreaker, getting that attack speed for our backline is going to be quite nice, holding onto these spikes for our level 6 board, and we tried to fish for those frontline upgrades. As I mentioned, unfortunately did not hit and found those extra copies, so we are definitely going to be low on gold this game, but we are hoping to rebound it through our win streak. This is this high risk play that you have to be considering for ourselves here. We have the mana generating hex or another glove. Mana generating hex obviously doesn't benefit you at Gnar. We're going to have quite a while until we get to something like a Quirky. We're looking for something that could provide us with immediate item spike right now. Taking this free glove is fine. We can make some items from it, so we're just going to take items for tempo, and our components do not exactly work out now. We would have to take, I guess, a tier if we wanted to secure ourselves that Nasus 2. Did not see bow, did not see sword. It's quite unfortunate, but sometimes happens. Even something like a chain could have just transitioned into a slam for ourselves. And we opted, alright, we gave up on an Nasus. I for all immediately forgot we put in that Maokai plus Pantheon there, so we do not even have that Nasus 2 right now. And we are opting to invest already into this Spike 2. Level here. Very aggressive. Generally, after this level, you would want to be at least 10 gold, and we're opting to make that TG from the extra gloves that we picked up from the Akali. Just take Tokemag's gold in dish soap here with the treasure hunt. Interested to see what he's considering. Maybe an MF. He has holding on to that MF1. Could be a possibility. Definitely a treasure hunt, a strong augment, but you're also going to be lacking in gold. The 3-cost reroll is so expensive to be playing around. Thankfully, we secured a 4 streak, and all these plays that we have made are only going to be worthwhile if we are going to be able to 5 streak here. We can see deleted here also on 100 HP. He's scouting him. Did not exactly catch his board fully, but otherwise we have 2 lost streakers in our pool. Should be fine. Trying to position for deleted. Are queuing into deleted's board here. The Spike is going to do massive things. His Spike 2 can still definitely drain tank a little bit against this Belvet. Has that Bastion proc happened on her? And this is looking extremely close. And unfortunately, our streak is going to get broken. Even though we try to position for maximum sniper value, still could not outrun this Belvet. This frontline foundation sometimes can be extremely nasty. But the good side we have going for ourselves that we're naturaling these units. But the bad side is that we are extremely poor. We are very, very poor right now due to the rolls that we already made and the extra units that we're holding on to. I'm not sure if we can even hold on to this Fizz despite wanting to hold on to all the Meeple units we could. Not even holding on to this Poppy pair, because we can see we're already making only 29 gold here from these aggressive plays. We invested the TG, which is going to reduce our cap for a little while. Opting now to slot in these T3 Timebreakers to make that econ threshold. And again, we do not have the items, so this is going to be a very tough spot to manage, and let's see how he manages to fare. Again, can see Advanced Loan, the goal. This is definitely the counter where you can find to rip it. Marcel, level 6, 50 gold here, going on that lost streak as well. They're able to pick him the free win up here. Our next augment selection, we are looking to sort out other items, right? Booster pack, if you wanted the econ, generically decent, can provide you in some direction, some tempo, but replication, if the sword or the bow bailout just has to come in here, right? Pilfer, 2 delayed of a value, 2 little drip gold, and we might not have the strongest board to be considering. Epic roll down for your fast 8 roll downs. We do not need econ. Exclusive customization is something we can consider. This is generic, the hybrid augment of item and econ. But we are really in an item trouble right now. The upside, this is going to be a guaranteed Gnar item at least, and hopefully it's one of those attack speed items. But replication has the higher potential high roll side. And since our spot got so ruined, we are considering a possibility to go for a high roll. He's going to opt to go for a save, not picking up that bronze for life. That's just getting to low value later on. Still going to level here and roll, trying to find something for our front line, trying to stabilize our board right now. Trying to get... The reason we're doing this again is that we can then use this... We can then use these Timebreaker XP to bounce back the investment that we have made. Still had to dig quite deep, didn't find a frontline upgrade, and opted to pick up Death Blade instead of a Rage Blade. Even though we have 6 Gnar copies, so we're pretty much committed at this point to the Gnar, right? Death Blade, but generally if you're going with these slams, you can consider, alright, I did not natural my Gnar copies, I was still able to play for tempo, I can transition to Quirky Ribbon, I am completely fine. But once we've made this deep of an investment into this Gnar, we definitely want to sort him out with these attack speed items against Quintaniilha here, who has taken that Earth into that Space Groove line and another advanced loan. There's just, yeah, augment bad when it's not this encounter, insane when it's this encounter. And we are going to lose to this Gwento, which is an absolute demon now in these earlier stages of the game. For ourselves, this is the attack speed hex that definitely could sort out our attack speed issues. We do not want another rod. It's hard to get rid of rods in this comp. If one is going to become a Morello, then it's probably a Crown Guard afterwards. You're not too excited. We already have one, so if you natural another, it's a little bit of a disaster after you transition onto the Milio. Milio 2 is a fine carry, and more in your Quirky line, but we're not playing this line, right? Therefore, our items again just get... This is a very unlucky item game, all things considered, and our streaking. So this is a very tough spot to manage. In my mind, we are already just trying to see if we can play for a top 4. And right now, do we have to take a tier just for maximum gold amount? Or we can take Gragas, maybe? We can see he's... Okay, he did the Reforge. The Reforge finally gave us a bow. We're fine to pick up this rod now and sort our Rage Blade out. Because that would also be a Gragas pair only. The Spike 2 has to do a lot of work, and I'm not sure if we even are rich enough to be making this Milio 2. You can see he's constantly zooming in. He just... Mordog is not him with him this game. This is very, very tough spot, especially in the tournament when the pressure is on. You're just sitting there and you're thinking like, how do I manage this? I naturaled my copies. I had a clear direction, but did I make the wrong line decision? I tried to play the best I could, but now I'm just here getting owned by these reroll players, where Dishsoap has opted to also play into this Primordian reroll. I am losing my tempo. I'm not going exactly with my game plan, and what other options do I have? We are just still fishing here, and this is definitely one of those points, even though we're high HP because we managed to kill a lot of units. Yeah, you can see so many rolls used, and we're just sitting here on the Pantheon pair still. We cannot use 7 meeple for a lot. These are the spots where we have to dig deeper on level 6, try to stabilize our board, then make to that 7 meeple, print 1, maybe 2 copies, and then hope that we can secure the wins with large enough of a spike. But the issue then is we are not rolling that much on level. We're not going to be rolling that much on level 8. Meaning that it's quite unlikely for us to find that Ramos 2, which is truly what holds this front line down. Poppy 3 is obviously an alternate carry you can consider, not in our spot here, but she's going to also fall off quite a lot in the later stages of the game. Now we find a Gragas pair. Okay, Gragas 2 at least came on. We're going to up to level, find that slot that Meepsy in, which is generally a nice transition from here. Going to up to transition the items, have that stone plate, make that stone plate right away. Just use this psionic item on whatever. Completely fine. Have our front line sorted out. Now we have our back line sorted out as well. And we queue into Blitzcrank on level 7 from Spencer with 2 tanky. Little slow on item slams. Is it going to make the difference? No, this Samir is just an absolute beast. He has Blitz pair on 7. Holy. This lobby is just, you know, we are high HP. That is the upside. We invested a lot and saved a lot of HP, but it's a little tricky spot. So something like a reinforcement here is quite appealing for ourselves. Simply, if we find that Rammus, we are blessed and saved. Might have to pass upon Corkies while doing so and looking so. But we still want some econ, perhaps, because we have pretty much had to use all our free rerolls. Earth, only I would say Space Group Darkstar lines, but I am not a fan of this augment just to do how much of investment it takes. It takes your augment, takes away your component, slows down your item slams. Tough to play around. People overvalue this in my opinion. We Generic combat augment of just a bunch of stats. It's alright if you're in a spot to take a combat augment, you are fine to take it, especially if your trade just does not give a top all raw stats, as Meeple does not. Mace's Will, if you have that IE slammed already, generally good to just pair this with something like a Striker's Flail. We have an open glove, this would prevent me transition into another TG. Are we going to value another TG at this point of the game? I do not think so. I'm having tough times already imagining what we're going to utilize this single TG with. Just going to be probably some form of secondary carry. Well, explosive growth though, this could allow, this is going to obviously be more gold, raw gold for ourselves to be able to push the levels. We are level 7 now, and I think about 40 or 50 gold, I think. Have to evaluate if this was the odd reinforcement where I believe it gave him at least about 10 gold or so, then definitely this would be quite appealing. We're maybe leaving an extra flip. We're not going. Thank you. One thing we did manage to high roll immediately level to I think it was level 8 so we were able to immediately find that Rammus too, so this is going to be the blessing we are looking for all around. Slotting in another sniper, transitioning items here onto that Rammus too, that's just hopefully going to be enough to stall long enough for this Gnar to do work. Against a Lulu reroll from Darth Noob, has that Jax 3, might be a little while until we're able to get through him, since this Lulu is starting to get the scale and is going to be able to annihilate our backline, and we lose 7-0. This is the issue. While we're not even playing 7 Meeple, but this Gnar is just having tough times to figure out the board, and we are just looking for a single Corki at this point, right, to try to start printing our Gnar 3. Yeah, we have that Veigar lined up, have been holding on to it since the start of the game against Ladder Slayers LeBlanc. As predicted, the board is going to transition in there. Thankfully, it's LeBlanc one, so hopefully this Gnar has enough time through this Rammus. It's going to be quite close. It is a Nunu too, but we're thankfully able to pick up a win. Any time that we can buy now, because we're going to need to sack a couple of rounds. Cryogenic Hex, immediate pickup for ourselves. The chain, which would be a Steadfast, could allow us to get the Sunfire off the Rammus, which is generally something you would want to do. You want to get the Sunfires off your main tanks, if you're possible. Cryogenic Hex, though, is just immediate insane value for him. Then for ourselves, the item here, probably Victor with just another IE, has that cap for the... I'm going to go with a glove. Okay. For that Jhin, even though Samira is bugged, IE is a fine tempo slam to make. Finally find that Corki, perhaps valuing that we can just make a TG here then for our Corki. He has that... Well, we do not even have the crit for the Fate Weavers, but with whatever, it's going to be a value there. And we'll utilize that trick to see what our TGs are before moving them around. Find the frontline TG on the Meepsy here. Cambuli here has rolled down on that Meeple line, has taken out the Rammus too, so without a reinforcement we might have been in a lot of trouble here. Thankfully it's only Nami 1, does not have that much splash. His augments, not too much value up front in them. And now we're going to be off a single round and still hitting that Gnar 3 kind of on a pace here. Very lucky to find that reinforcement bailout here with the Rammus to stabilize our board right there, and now we're going to be on the pace to hit our Gnar 3, which is hopefully then allow us to start to try to push levels, holding on to that Morgana, holding on to that Galio. We're not able to hold on to the Karma just then. Dishsoap here stuck on his Primordial reroll. Decent HP, has preserved a lot of HP nonetheless. Looking for ourselves to perhaps... Well, with all these TGs made, like, how do we sort out our items? Are we saying Protector's Vow here for this? Rammus is fine, but then... I mean, the reason why you want to move off Sunfire is you have something like a Galio that is durable enough of a unit to be holding onto, but are we moving it to a Poppy? Kraken... Just a solo Kraken... I mean, you have to take something quite soon. You do not want to be investing too much gold. We're considering this fine. Going to keep rolling here for perhaps improving our board, but I believe this is quite fine. He just gave a single roll there. Slot in that Morgana, holding on to Ezreal as this can just be a natural slot in if you're able to make it to level 9. We have evaluating here if you want that Kraken. Yeah, so we're going to say that this is going to be a lot of HP for a lot of attack speed. We like that attack speed. Going to see if that's stronger than the Dead Blade. Spencer, with that Blitzcrank on level 7, has made it to level 8. Still seems that he has not managed to hit a Warden, has not managed to hit a Samira. But nonetheless, who cares? The Sword unit is a absolutely busted unit, and he's going to be able to push levels there. He even had a Cosmic Restart in that spot. Now that we dropped low, we're looking for a possibility to improve our board. Just wanting to preserve lives, while realizing we cannot greed that much to try to make it to the level 9. Going to find a Morgana to slaughter TG here against Marcel, also playing into that Space Groove line. Does no emblem, so is stuck onto that Teemo in a backline, but still the Space Groove line, just Space Groove, Space Groove, Space Groove, has that Nami too, is able to burst through, and has the Tom Kench to hold down the front line. Tough spot, right? The meta is how it is. Unfortunately, we are not competing exactly against these Space Groove lines. I'm just simply wondering, like, how are we truly looking to improve this board? Like, obviously having another Space Groove comp. Thankfully it's a ghost, so perhaps they're going to be able to pick up a win. Does not have the frontline items sorted out, so it seems that they were doing item transition, little shifting momentum for ourselves to gain the win right there. But perhaps we're simply just rolling here for that Corki to trying to just simply win out, picking up an anvil, looking for any form of a... Yeah, Last Whisper, we do not have that sorted out. This is going to be great. Because rolling for that Samira too, right? We saw so many Space Group players just rolling for a Samira 2, donkeying on level 8. Obviously, if in terms of preserving HP and trying to preserve placement, it's going to be fine, but quite likely that might have been the right call. We just realized that we want to be as strong as possible. This game was kind of doomed for us to already go to level 9. We just want to be preserving as much lives and try to slowly bleed out to the top 4. Dish Soap here has hit, so the Jinx Trees has online and is extremely strong in that front. We're going to be stuck on this board, going to utilize our removers to just try to make the strongest board possible. Securing a single win here is an absolute placement swing, so we're just trying to invest all our resources we can. Against Camberley, the Space Groove line here again is able to rip through our front line quite a lot, but thankfully, nice, the positioning actually that we made has sorted out. So let's just observe here. They are itemizing that, I believe, the Ornn. No, they have that Rammus too, and they are playing into that Nami Riven variant right there. The AP Nami, which is fine, sorry, AP Riven, which is completely fine. The Blitzcrank is on opposite side, so it's not going to knock our Rammus away. And since this Galio walked up, we were able to gain a little more sniper value. That was quite sufficient for ourselves. And we burst down that Riven, and the Nami just simply gets overwhelmed. Extremely crucial win for us to pick up here. Gives us that HP cushion and secures us at the top 4. Perhaps one of the most important rounds in the whole game right there. And yeah, this is another play that just realizing that, hey, we're going to make it to the level 9, but if we make it there, we're not going to be that much gold. We would have to have been able to live all this way to pretty much this point to have enough gold to make it to 9 and have enough gold to buy these units to transition into a stronger variant of this board. Again, investing all our resources to try to secure a win in this round, but that rolling gave us an upside to potentially hit upgrades, and if it just killed a 1 or 2 more units, that could have been a placement swing. Again, another Space Groove line from the Spencer. Now they're still stuck on that Blitzcrank right there, but now that we have managed to upgrade our carries, we can see the difference is there, and we're able to pick up a win and secure ourselves a top 3. Now, unfortunately, Dish Soap is ringing in other doors with that Jinx reroll. We know we're going to be losing to it. So perhaps we have to, at this point, consider a possibility to try to position around in some way against the Spencer's matchup in the case that he does get our Ghost back-to-back. But we are pretty much locked in our positioning with the Hexes. The Jinx is going to get online. We still opted to focus 1 tanks on the single side, but this comp just has too much burst for us to be getting through. And Spencer there seems to have won with a single unit. And was it against our Ghost? No, it was against Dish Soap's Ghost. And a couple of units. Unfortunate for us to not secure the top 2. But still, beautifully rebounded game by Quintaniilha, all things considered. Yeah, we naturaled our units. Yes, we had a clear direction from the start. But our game, our streak got broken and we did not have the items. We had to play aggressive. We played aggressively, did not exactly play out, which made us to double down on these aggressive plays, low rolled like hell on our front line and some of our units, but received a high roll from the Rammus too. Identified that we have to be as strong as possible and preserve every single HP we can, which enabled us to secure this top 3 placement in the Anima Cup lobby. I would like to thank you for watching. As usual, all the cheat sheets are going to be available in the link down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one.